All right, putting the jig to work. It's working pretty good. I didn't end up using heat because I don't know. I just felt a little more confident doing it cold, and this stuff is pretty bendable. Works great. Because if I botch this up, there's no getting them out of there, and I've just this thing going in the trash if that happens. So anyway, yeah, the jig's working out nice. Biggest problem is trying to keep this centered, but no, this is, I don't think these cages straight from the factory were all that perfect. I mean, you could find all kinds of slight measurements that are a little different. So I think the next thing is going to be, I don't know, I think I'm going to come up with some kind of like blocks maybe that the rear ring sits on to maintain the height, and then it will have no choice but to be in the right spot. If I have a jig here that basically, like a block of wood, maybe not on every one, but on like 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, feeling pretty good about this. Came out awesome as far as the this. I mean, this looks about as factory as. Pretty pleased with that. It looks a lot like what it looked like before I started even working on it. But yeah, and even the coupler isn't exactly centered. I mean, it wasn't originally, so that just has to do with whatever. But yeah, pretty pleased. All right, so here I've got some blocks of wood. I don't know that I'm gonna really need to do more than just have them in there. These are cut to 2 1/4. I think it's okay, about like that. I don't know that I thought about cutting a slot in there, but then I would have had to have added the thickness of that. So maybe I'll remake them with the slot that's exactly the height of the front ring, which I'll have to measure again. I forget what it is, but anyway, pretty pleased. I just did some tests here, heating the brass. I mean, almost to red hot is what, like, I don't really tell much difference. This stuff is pretty bendable as it is. I don't really tell much difference unless I heat it to red hot, and then I can do like a really nice tight loop. I mean, I would have loved to have done it on here, but I'm just not brave enough yet. So yeah. All right, so I'm taking a break from the cage. I still got to do the back ring loop, but Christmas morning, got to go pick up my kiddo here in a minute. Working on the revised jig for S-wires for future purposes. There'll be a block here that you'll bend this straight, and then you'll put in this first buck, and then bend it down farther this way, and then you'll put in this second buck, and then bend it up that way, and then I gotta have some kind of I think I need more of a sharp corner like this for this to be bent down a little bit beyond. When I built my first jig, I had it straight, and you gotta account for the flex in the wire. So I really, I planned on building this on another piece of this really nice 9-ply or whatever it is, maple or birch plywood that I used for the cage jig, but I just started playing around just for sampling purposes on this 2x4, and it took me you can see a couple different holes to get it right, and I don't know this is going to be right until I actually get some wire going, but I think it's going to be close. But yeah, I think I need a piece coming in here like this. If this was wider, I just, the way I'm building these bucks is, I just don't have the ability to work with steel, you know, so, or even aluminum. So yeah, so recessing the bolt, I bought like, you know, umpteen different scrolls, hole saws. I'm gonna return some of them that I haven't opened, but it's looking like 2.5 for this big one. Can't even read it. Yeah, 2.5 for this one, and then 2 for this one actually, which I had bought several smaller, but this inner loop is actually bigger than it looks. It's just the radius is offset, but it's not quite as big as this one. So working out pretty good. When I first did it, I drilled my hole there, my bigger Forstner bit hole, but once I realized I was going to have to keep doing this, I decided to just put the Forstner bit in here and recess these. Yeah, so getting there. And then as far as the loop, I don't know. I mean, as far as this technique, this worked pretty doggone well to just assemble the hub with all the spokes coming out and then use the jig to make the bend. So as for now, I am not going to work on something to pre-bend the loop. So, because like I said, until I did order some brass hollow tube just for sake of trying to assuage my fears of dealing with this coupler. So I'm going to get that, see if I ordered the right stock. You know, it's impossible to know what to buy. I think the stuff I bought was, I think 9/16 for the rear ring and 7/16 outer diameter for the front ring, and then an inner wall thickness of 0.29. So I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, Merry Christmas.